late Saturday night.
A stellar looking Monday afternoon and evening on our hands, but we're going to concentrate on some thunderstorms headed our way just in time for tomorrow. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And calls for justice in Jerusalem and around the world. We look at the growing outrage over the death of a Palestinian American journalist.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Pittsburgh police investigate after a weekend shooting leaves one woman dead and a second in the hospital. This is KOAM News at Noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, police say they have a suspect in custody after Saturday's deadly shooting in Pittsburgh. According to the PD, the shooting happened just before 11 Saturday night near the 100 block of West 23rd Street. When officers arrived, they located 2 female victims. 40-year-old Stephanie Short of Pittsburgh. She died at the scene. 46-year-old Velma Kuby of Kansas City. She had gunshot wounds as well and was taken to Via Christi in stable condition. Police identified the suspect as 39-year-old James Hamilton of Pittsburgh. Crawford County deputies arrested Hamilton. He's now being held at the Crawford County Jail, booked under charges of murder in the first degree and attempted murder in the first degree. Missouri House spent its last day of the session Friday passing language protecting patient visitor access at hospitals. House members voted overwhelmingly in favor of the regulations on hospital, nursing home, hospice, and other long-term care patients. Visitor bans and restrictions during the COVID-19 pandemic motivated the measure. The Senate did not vote on the matter as they ended the session a day early. Before the session closed, the Senate did approve new congressional districts. The new districts are expected to continue the Republicans' edge in upcoming elections. The bill now goes to Governor Mike Parson. Missouri and New Hampshire are the only states that had not at least enacted a congressional redistricting plan based on the 2020 census. Well, our rain-filled Sunday, it could repeat itself this week. Michael Hayslip joins us with a first look at the forecast.
Coming off all the heat that we had last week, we get a chance to actually have some normal temperatures. Perhaps more importantly, a chance to dry off coming off of what we had on Thursday. Midwest looking absolutely great with a high pressure system that's actually dropped in from the north. That'll provide us with pretty seasonable temperatures, not having to worry about anything record breaking. Also, too, forcing the clouds down to our southeast. This is why we need a little chance to dry out here. You see this line that works in for the northwest all the way down to the southeast. That's rain accumulation for just the last 48 hours alone. Of course, the majority of that coming from yesterday. But you see these little pockets here of yellow. That's a 2.5, sometimes 3 inches of rain right along that dividing line. And it was interesting in the fact that sometimes right here along the state line and whatnot, hardly any rain picked up. Then we kind of temper it off to the north until we had that secondary band that stretched from Kansas City right through our northern counties of southwest Missouri, just on the south side of I-70 right there. High temperatures for the past couple of days. Of course, we knew what we had last week when that humidity set in. Not too bad this week. And that average May high of 77 degrees, well, according to our daily almanac, that would be par for the course for the middle of May. So we actually caught up. As a matter of fact, there we go. Throw that 77 up there as well. Now, we do have a little change that's coming for tomorrow morning. It's going to be some thunderstorm activity that rolls in from the west right there. It's mainly going to dominate these western and southern portions of the 4 states. It's not going to be widespread. And then we're going to back off on those rain chances for Wednesday and Thursday. Still abnormally warm. That's going to be about 8-9 degrees warmer than what we'd anticipate. But if you can hold on, we got a big cold front that's actually going to emerge here by the end of the work week. Coming up in a bit, Tanya, let's go ahead and dive into tomorrow morning because we are going to have some thunder and lightning as that rolls through when I see you in a bit.
We're learning new details about the deadly mass shooting over the weekend at a supermarket in western New York. In Nation Watch, investigators say the suspect specifically targeted the store because he wanted to kill as many black people as possible. The 18-year-old pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder charges. Last year, police questioned the suspect after he reportedly made threats at his high school in Conklin, New York. Police say the suspect live-streamed the attack. And though a spokesperson for the site, Twitch, insists it was pulled down within 2 minutes, it does raise questions about what more social media companies could do or should be doing to prevent publicizing violence. A total of 13 victims were wounded in the Buffalo shooting. 3 survived. Investigators say 11 of those targeted were black. Police in Southern California are investigating another mass shooting at a church. One person was killed and 5 wounded Sunday during a church lunch reception. Parishioners at Geneva Presbyterian Church in Laguna Woods hogtied and detained the alleged gunman after he opened fire. Police say those parishioners showed exceptional heroism. An outrage is growing over the attack on the funeral procession of a Palestinian-American journalist. Church leaders are condemning Israeli police for using too much force. CBS's Ian Lee reports from Jerusalem.
Even in death, Shireen Abu Akleh couldn't find peace. Last Friday, Israeli police attacked the pallbearers carrying her coffin, beating them with clubs. Authorities say they were provoked, but Jerusalem's top Catholic leader isn't buying it.
Israel's police invasion and disproportionate use of force is a severe violation of international norms and regulations.
The attack shocked Shireen's already grieving family.
One of the Israeli forces told me, if you do not get away from here, I will beat you.
Lena had worried about her aunt's safety as a reporter, but says Shireen tried to reassure her.
We're protected by our vest, and they can see it says capital letters press.
The Al Jazeera journalist was wearing that vest when eyewitnesses say an Israeli soldier shot the Palestinian American last Wednesday. Her funeral saw one of the largest turnouts in Jerusalem in years. Shireen was already an icon, a role model for many women and girls across the Arab world. Her legacy will now live forever.
At least Shireen, the whole world is seeing her story now.
Israel says it's investigating her killing, but is not claiming responsibility.
It's important to have accountability to show that Israel cannot get away with another crime.
Do you think you'll get accountability?
We really hope so.
As a journalist, Shireen fought to tell the truth. Now her family is fighting to know what truly happened to her. Ian Lee, CBS News, Jerusalem.
In a rare and unanimous statement, the UN Security Council condemned Shireen's killing. The State Department and many U.S. lawmakers are calling for a thorough and objective investigation. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, supply and demand.
Lawmakers in Washington say they want to solve the baby formula shortage. I'm Deborah Alfarone at the White House with details on what may have led to the issue and what steps may fix it.
And later, we're making Southern baked beans in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Lawmakers in Washington are working on plans to restock store shelves with baby formula. Deborah Alfarone has more details from the White House.
The FDA commissioner says there actually is a sufficient amount of baby formula, even if you're having a hard time finding it.
We believe it is possible for all families to get formula. There is enough to go around, but it's not distributed in the right way.
Dr. Robert Califf also says the agency is working on a plan which may be announced today to make baby formula more accessible.
Over the weekend, one of the things that we worked on continuously was putting forth a set of rules that would enable the use of formula that was intended for other countries. Some of it even manufactured in the U.S. intended for other countries.
Congress is preparing to vote this week on a pair of bills to increase supply, including one to allow the U.S. to import formula from abroad. The other would make it easier for low-income families in the WIC program to buy formula. The shortages began when a key manufacturer had to recall its formula after some babies became sick. The FDA has been criticized for not moving sooner to recognize the problem and fix the supply issues.
FDA didn't exert all the oversight that they could have of that facility. There were known problems with that facility going back many years. There were findings on previous inspections.
Dr. Scott Gottlieb, the former commissioner of the FDA, says one of the biggest issues is a shortage of regulators.
The entire industry in this country is overseen by 9 people. This has been an under-resourced part of the agency for a very long time, and that's contributing, I think, to these challenges.
Dr. Califf says he plans to ask Congress for more money to hire inspectors when he testifies on Capitol Hill this week. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, the White House.
CBS News has also learned that the Department of Justice is working with state attorneys general to investigate possible baby formula price fixing. Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
What do you put in your baked beans? It all depends on what part of the country you're from. Join us and we'll show you a few options.
But first, Michael Hayslip returns with your complete forecast.
Hope you've been able to enjoy a marvelous beginning to our work week. Whole bunch of sunny skies, and even with our humidity that was up at around 93% earlier this morning, really hasn't been too bad because we were able to start off in the 50s. Now, slowly but surely, we are going to warm up this week. Stop a little short of the record highs that we were either challenging or even setting last week. Remember, we not only tied a record high last week, but then on Thursday, we went ahead and broke that. It has been a delightful day. Look at the jet stream, though. This is very interesting in the fact that it works its way to the far north and then sweeps right through. That'll actually keep us away from that 80-degree mark today. We'll go high 70s, but a whole bunch of sunshine because the high pressure is dominating this portion of the Midwest out to our west. Now, slowly but surely, we're going to see that thing kind of jump over us, and that's why our rain chances will increase by the time we get to the middle of the week. But in the time being, we're going to keep everything up in Big Sky country and then right here along the Great Lakes. That's probably going to be today's biggest threat for any severe weather that we'll see. Not for us, though, as we are going to be, say 77, 78 degrees, which is perfectly seasonable for this time of year. You'll notice here overnight that our temperature is not going to drop as low as what they did last night because we've got some instability that's about to present itself up in the Tuesday morning air. And what it'll do is work its way from the west, kind of formulate right there along the Kansas-Oklahoma state line like they so many times do, but we're not going to see a whole lot of north to south expansion on this. It's going to stay rather clustered. So there we are, about 4:30, we see it begin to gather, and that thing is going to throw down some thunder and lightning as well. And you can tell that's got some heavy rain right along the state line. Now, instead of it expanding and moving all the way through, it drops right to the central portion of the four-stage Jockeys I-44. So the farther north and the farther east that you are, you're not going to run into this tomorrow. However, down to the south, let's lock in because it's going to be here right in time for the Tuesday morning drive. And then after it backs down to the south right there, we're really going to be in store for a good afternoon. But I'll tell you what, down to the south too, where you're going to get the majority of that rain, it's going to heat right back up. We're going to be up into the 80s. So that humidity is going to play a factor. Now, as the system ducks down into central Arkansas, we actually get ready for another one. Remember, we talked about everybody up in the north and the east staying dry for the most part for the morning one? Well, here we go. By the time we get into Tuesday night / Wednesday morning, we've got another one that forms out here. But instead of it dropping down to the southeast, exact opposite route, this one wants to ride up to the north. The majority of the hard rain going to be from St. Joe through portions of Kansas City, work its way into central Missouri. But those far northern counties that we have for southeast Kansas and southwest Missouri are going to get clipped just a tad by that. Should stay out of the threat of anything severe, however, and then we're going to ride through the rest of Wednesday, really staying on the dry side. That's why we keep that chance for rain so slim on Wednesday and Thursday. I only run about 10%. But that's the first one that drops down, and then the second one, this gets much more widespread as it crosses the Mississippi. Stays very well organized, and look at that, just about makes it all the way to the Atlantic coast after it's through with us. Get ready for a little bit of a heat wave there because we're going to come back and have temperatures that will be in the 80s for the most part for the rest of the week. So not too bad. But once again, it will be a little bit humid out there until we get the massive cold front. Now check out Friday into Saturday. For those of you that enjoy some cooler temperatures, well, Friday's thunderstorm going to drop us about 20 degrees, a high of only 65 there on Saturday, and mild looking Sunday. We'll get back to enjoying our Sundays coming off of what we had yesterday. Tanya?
Thanks, Michael. And we take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Sergeant Jay Campbell in the U.S. Army. The soldier from Joplin, Missouri, joined the 25th Infantry Division in 1965. He served in Vietnam until 1968, earning the Vietnam Campaign Medal, the Vietnam Service Medal, and the National Defense Medal. To Jay Campbell, we thank you, our four-state hero. There are many ways to sweeten or spice up a simple side dish, and today Howard shows us his take on Southern baked beans in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
The other day, a few of us in the test kitchen were chatting about what makes really great baked beans. And as you can imagine, everyone seems to have their own opinion, which kind of varied based on where they grew up. For me, since my parents grew up in Boston, as a kid, I only knew about Boston baked beans. What makes these so unique is that they use navy beans simmered in a sauce accented with salt pork and molasses. Callie, on the other hand, grew up with baked beans that started with tomato or sometimes barbecue sauce that was sweetened with brown sugar and had bacon in it. Well, after lots of discussion, we decided that today we're going to make them Southern style. All we have to do is combine some canned kidney and cannellini beans that we've rinsed and drained, along with some chili sauce, ketchup, chopped onion, brown sugar, and a bit of mustard. After this is mixed well, we spoon it into a baking dish and let it simmer in the oven until it gets all thick and bubbly. What sets this apart from other baked beans is the combo of the brown sugar with the chili sauce. So right after the news, why don't you go online and get the recipe for our Southern baked beans so you can taste test these against the ones you grew up with. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a bubbling hot way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4-state market prices.
Final look at our 7-day forecast. Remember, no worries this afternoon, highs around 77. It is tomorrow. That's when the thunderstorm activity kicks in for Tuesday morning, dominates more the western and southern portions of the 4 states, and then ducks out of here by about the noon hour. Then it's going to be a little bit humid there the rest of the week as we're in the mid-80s.
All right, well, coming up tonight at 5, gas prices have been on the rise, and that's fueling interest in electric cars. Some folks are checking out the new Ford F-150 Lightning. We take a look at the country's best-selling vehicle and why it's giving up the gas tank for batteries. Plus, as the baby formula shortage continues, social media has been providing different recipes to make your own, but that comes with a danger. Local experts talk about what you can do to keep your baby fed the right way. And Pittsburgh schools hold a kickoff ceremony to begin work on the middle school after voters approved the work. Join us for those stories and much more tonight on the KOAM News at 5. And thank you for joining us for KOAM News at noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.